All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending the October 11th council meeting. Although it is a Tuesday, I'm glad to see you all here. I'm calling the meeting to order and asking if we have any added items to the agenda. And for the record, Councillor, who are we missing? Councillor Duryea and Councillor Bennett are away today. No added items, then I'd ask to adopt the agenda as presented, please. Councillor Walsh.
Yeah, I move the adoption of the regular meeting.
Agenda? Thank you. Any further questions? Those in favor? That's carried, thank you. All right, page 3 of your agenda, regular council meeting minutes of September 26th. Councillor Harper, would you like to put those on the floor?
I'll be more than pleased to, Your Worship. I so move that the minutes from the September 26th, 2016 regular council meeting be adopted as presented.
Does council have any questions? Additions, deletions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Those in favor? That's carried. No presentations or delegations today. No business arising out of the minutes. I thought I had one, but just one question. And through our CAO to Mr. Wagstaff, with regards to the cemetery request for further public engagement, is there any update?
There is not an update at this time, Your Worship. Given it was away last week, I haven't touched base with Catherine and Michelle on that topic.
Thank you. We'll wait for information then. All right, let's move down to bylaws. Page 9 of your agenda, please. And this is item 5B, bylaw 2016-25, amending the land use for East Olds Area Redevelopment Plan. And today we are just looking for first reading and public hearing date. And who would like to put first reading on the floor? Councillor Baruchel.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that first reading be given to bylaw 2016-25, bylaw to amend Town of Olds East Olds Area Redevelopment Plan, bylaw 2014-15. Do you want me to keep going?
No, we'll do one at a time. They're two different topics. So does council have any questions in this regard? We do have our development officer here if you do. Councillor Harper.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I do note, and I just want clarification, that in reference to the East Olds Area Redevelopment Plan, do changes to architectural controls or designs, do these take effect for this particular development?
The adoption of Schedule E of the land use bylaw, which has those architectural controls, will apply to this application.
Further questions? Hearing none, Councillor Baruchel has first reading on the floor. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And for a public hearing date, please. Councillor Harper.
I so move that a public hearing for bylaw 2016-25 be set for Monday, November the 14th, 2016 at 1 p.m. in the council chambers.
And advertising will be in place and in order for that date? Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, those in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you. Unfinished business? Seeing none, we'll move down to new business. Page 19 of your agenda, please. And this is for Parkland Regional Library budget. Sorry. Page 16. I'm sorry. Yes, let's move back to bylaws, page 16. And this is land use bylaw as well as consideration. Bylaw 2016-22. And who would like to put the first reading on the floor? Councillor Overwater.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the public hearing for bylaw 2016-22 be rescheduled to Monday, November 14th, 2016 at 1 p.m. I do have a question to that.
Yes, thank you. Go ahead.
It was originally set for October 24th. Does it have to change from October 24th? As I will not be there for either of those public hearings then on November 14th.
We'll get our development officer to answer, please.
The reason it's being changed is the motion that we just had, the bylaw the bylaw we just did before this one needs to be in place prior to this one going forward, just as a matter of order. And because of the timing, the one before can't possibly be at the next meeting because in the local paper. So that advertising requirement, that time requirement to couldn't be completed in 2 weeks.
Timeline, Councillor Overwater. There's a timeline on it. Sorry. All right. So we have a motion on the floor then from Council Overwater. And I'll call for the vote. Those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. That's carried. Now we have unfinished business. Seeing none, new business. This is page 19. We do not have Councillor Duryea here to speak to this, so I would ask our CAO if he would like to speak to this.
Comprehensive package in the agenda today. The bottom line is there is an anticipated salary increase in the range of about 7%. But, when you put it across all of the members, the change for the town of Olds is, I believe, about $2,000 difference from the budget last year. So very well done package. Administration is in support of the recommendation from the council.
Does council have questions with regards to the library budget for Parkland? Councillor Overwater?
Sure. Thank you, Your Worship. This is probably directed to our CAO. Mr. McGinnis, after the AUMA resolution going forward, will this won't affect the 2017 budget, but will it affect the 2018? And do you know, does it have to be a unanimous vote in order for these library boards to borrow, or is it just a majority vote?
So the resolution is, there was a resolution that was supported at conference last week to allow the regional library boards the ability to borrow for capital projects. My understanding is the board would have the authority to apply for the borrowing if they get the opportunity to borrow from Alberta Capital Finance Authority. So simple majority vote of the board, and then it would be a requisition to the members to pay principal and interest based on the formulas that are in place for other expenditures. Some of what Municipal Affairs has done in the past with big regional entities like the Regional Water and Wastewater Commissions is they do require consent from members. So we will see what Municipal Affairs would require if the regional boards have the ability to borrow for capital projects.
So just
Yeah, supplemental, Councillor Overwater?
Thank you. So would it work the same way as how the Regional Waste Commission works with borrowing?
I would see it working pretty much the same as a commission, yes.
That's a very good question. Councillor Harper?
Yeah, I just want clarification from our CAO. Even though this resolution to ask the provincial government for regional libraries to have the ability to borrow money for capital projects, this still has to have the approval of the government, correct? And until such time that the province approves that particular resolution, which could take a long time, I feel that we should be lobbying our member that's currently sitting on the Parkland Board to indicate that we as a community, as a council, really are not in favor of that resolution, even though it passed as a majority at the AUMA convention, because of our concerns about borrowing.
Thank you, Councillor Harper. I would recommend that once we deal with the resolution to approve this, that you perhaps would entertain another motion in that stating your words. Thank you. So can I get a motion then to approve the library proposed budget? Councillor Barishaw?
Thank you, Your Worship. I move the Parkland Regional Library proposed budget for 2017 be approved.
For final questions? Those in favor? That's carried. Councillor Harper?
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I so move that we direct our council representative to the Parkland Regional Library Board such information that Oldstown Council is not in favor of regional libraries borrowing money for capital projects such as new buildings, that information be directed to our representative.
Councillor Walsh?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I can support that. Basically, having been on that board and look at the issues they have with attaining capital, to even to maintain what they have, it's been a struggle. It's the HVAC systems, it gets to a point where do you either requisition it from your municipalities or do you borrow and pay for it over time? I think it's just one more tool that will allow them to create for us an infrastructure that will work into the future. I don't think we look forward to regional library systems boards requisitioning or asking each municipality to support their capital investments, because that's a little tougher sell, and that's the reason that these facilities are deteriorating, especially the one they are in now. It's just not been maintained to the level because of the lack of capital infrastructure.
Thank you. Mr. McGuinness, when council did our review and of our resolutions on the floor, could you state your case as to why your administration said otherwise?
Sure. It actually goes back to one of the questions earlier in the discussion today. I believe that, as Councillor Walsh suggested, it is a good tool, but I also agree that what we should be lobbying our member for is that when the required changes to the MGA and the Libraries Act come forward, that it does require consent from members to have the borrowing done. That way we can all be part of the decision. We can understand what the need for capital improvements to their headquarters are. And the resolution was dealing strictly with their headquarters. So
That's correct.
I think that the requirement to have member input or member consent is probably a good balance.
That is what I recall from our conversation with administration. Any further comments or questions? Supplementary, Councillor Walsh?
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. Like right now, the board, a lot of small communities just want to support the board moving forward with capital planning at that level, because a lot of them are a lot smaller than Olds, and there's a majority, so things just don't move forward. But with this type of system, and I agree with our CAO that, yeah, it should be with input from all municipalities.
I believe that's what the motion reads.
So basically, what my motion is that we are directing our representative to state to Parkland Regional Libraries that we really weren't in favor of the resolution that was passed at AUMA because of the fact that there would not be input from the member municipalities if they decided to go to capital projects. They could actually just requisition with only one vote from us. And I think that we need to have more input in reference to capital projects. As our CAO has constantly pointed out, with commissions, we sometimes lose control and we just have to pay the bill. And this would be one more board committee that we would just be directed to pay the bill. And I don't think that's right. I think we need to have lots more input. Thank you very much.
I'd like to have the motion read back then to make sure our intention is there.
Councillor Harper moves council rep such info, which I need to clarify, that Oldstown Council is not in favor of a UMA resolution of regional libraries borrowing for buildings.
Is that your intention? It's not, it doesn't seem like what were discussing at the table.
Not a good resolution. Maybe not vote, it's done, but we want to walk in. The way the commission does it. The commission wants to borrow money, so you can.
Well, let's just go to
Yeah.
Councillor Overwater and then back to Councillor Harper.
Council Harper, could you not have a friendly amendment, more detailed, that the member municipalities would like to be able to vote on that before just having the board vote on borrowing?
You know, actually, I would be okay with withdrawing the motion because, as I pointed out earlier, the resolution at AUMA was a resolution to urge the government to make the changes. The changes have not been made. Likelihood of the changes being made within the next year would not be great. So if and when the government made those changes, I would be more than prepared to then make resolutions here at this table directing our representative. So I'm more than in favor of withdrawing my motion, with your permission.
So let the record state that Councillor Harper would like to withdraw her motion, and I'd do a round table. Those in favor? Good. Thank you, Councillor Harper. So we'll leave it at that, and I agree that'll probably be the best process. All right, page 39, item 7B. And we have that Deborah Treherne be reappointed to FCSS and that Dave Harris and Heather Ryan be appointed to MPC. So if we can get a motion for the first. Councillor Overwater?
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that Deborah Traherne be reappointed to the Family and Community Support Services Board, each for a term of 2 years to expire 2018.
All right, questions? Those in favor? That's carried. And the second one for MPC. Who would like to make that motion? Councillor Harper?
It's a move that David Harris and Heather Ryan be reappointed to the Municipal Planning Commission for the term of 2 years to expire October 2018.
And those in favor? That's carried. Item 7C, page 40. As you are all aware, our CAO will be moving on to a new municipality after October 28th. So I have agreed with Mr. Lucas that we need to reappoint a signatory. So this is housekeeping, and Councillor Barisha, would you like to start?
Yes, Your Worship, I move that Norm McInnes be removed as a signatory from the ATB General Operating Account effective October 28, 2016, and that Sheena Lindeman,
Linderman, yep.
is it Linderman, be
Yes.
added?
Thank you. Questions? Those in favor? That's carried. Councillor Walsh?
Yeah, thank you. I move that Norm McGinnis be removed as signatory from the RBC Investments account effective October 28, 2016. Let Sheena Linderman be added.
Do we have questions? Those in favor? That's carried. Councillor Harper?
So move that Norm McInnes be removed as signatory from the Mountain View Credit Union account effective October 28th, 2016, and that Sheena Linderman be added.
Questions for this one? All those in favor? That's carried. Councillor Overwater?
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that Norm McGinnis's authority to request information relating to the town's CRA accounts be removed effective October 28, 2016, and that Sheena Linderman provided with this authority.
Be provided. Thank you. Those in favor? That's carried. Well, Mr. McGinnis, we're in good shape. So thank you very much for getting us to this point, and we will move forward from there. All right, 7D, page 41. And this is policies and priorities. As you're aware, we're going to be discussing some budget on these dates, and the dates have been changed. Who would like to start with the first motion? Councillor Overwater?
Thank you, Worship. I move that the Policy and Priorities Committee meeting scheduled for Monday, October 17, 2016, be rescheduled to start at 9 a.m.
Questions? Those in favor? That's carried. And the second, Councillor Baruchel.
Thank you, Worship. I move the Policies and Priorities Committee meeting scheduled for Monday, November 21st, 2016, be rescheduled to start at 9 a.m.
And questions? Those in favor? That is carried. Yes,
If I could,
Mr.
Your Worship,
McGinnis?
just a question on the process. Do we want to go into the regular items for a P&P agenda at 3 o'clock at both of these meetings? Do you think that 6 hours in each of these devoted to budget will be enough?
I would have to ask your professional advice and the advice of our CFO, Mr. Lucas. I felt that we needed the full day. Unless our policies and priorities meeting have items that are, we'd have to speak to Marcy on that too.
Yeah, there are some things that are in the queue for presentations at P&P.
Would council like to take a break then from 3 to 4 and go into P&P and deal with those items? Walsh?
I do have a conflict on the 17th. I will not be here at 9. I do have scheduled work in Calgary that morning at that same time, so I probably won't be back until noon.
I also have a conflict too, but we have to get these budget items done, and they've changed those dates accordingly. So the
Depending
question
on
on the table is
what's on-
P&P meeting.
Yeah.
What would council like to do? Councillor Harper?
Thank you, Your Worship. I personally believe that we should continue with P&P meeting, the regular portion of P&P, perhaps not at 3 o'clock, but maybe at 4 o'clock. Just depends how many items does administration have for that particular agenda?
My recommendation would that, for the sake of the public and media, et cetera, that we leave the scheduled dates for P&P 3 p.m. If we have to reconvene back to budget, then that would be the process. Would council agree to that? Okay. I think that's what we'll have to do then.
Wonderful, and considering at least 2 members of council won't be here at 9 o'clock on October 17th, the plan is to start with capital budget, then go into operating budget. Is that reasonable?
Majority has to, it'll be with the majority. Whoever can attend will be there. We all have to make or break meetings. Okay, so we'll leave it, the motion should be okay for the 9 a.m. start then, and then the process will be 3 p.m. P&P and back to Councillor Overwater.
Well, the way this states, to me, it states that policy and priorities is going to start at 9. So we don't want it to start at 9, we want it to start at 3, right?
No, so the budget discussions will be part of a P&P
Oh,
meeting.
okay,
But we
okay.
will just go to regular items at 3 o'clock.
Very good. Thank you. Is everybody okay with that? Good, thank you. So we voted on everything, and that was a supplementary question, correct? Okay. Let's move down to reports from council, item 8. One thing I was going to mention is, and I know we don't have a request for decision in our agenda. However, I leave the opportunity to council to speak if they so wish. And perhaps when we have our organizational meeting, we might want to discuss the idea of moving our reports to the 1 o'clock meeting rather than 7 p.m. at the end of the month, because we end up having such a late evening. But that's something, a discussion that we're going to have together when everybody's here. And I would like to put that on the floor for discussion and a reminder. I'm finding that our reports are getting larger and more detailed because we all have so many more meetings. And sometimes we're running quite late, and it's a little tough on administration and council and our media to sit and listen to these reports. So afternoon might work better. So let's keep that open for discussion. Very good. And so be it. If anybody wishes to speak at this time for any reports, you're more than welcome to. Councillor Harper?
Just to make note that the Town of Olds had 3 resolutions on the floor at AUMA, and we were fortunate to gain the support of the convention to have 2 of our resolutions approved by the convention floor, so I think that's pretty good.
And the third one that was not approved, I am going to honestly, in my own opinion as mayor, not speaking on behalf of council, I feel that the resolution was held back by the big cities of Calgary, Edmonton, Lethbridge, and Red Deer. And so I thought we did very well, but we'll report back on those. Very good. Thank you. All right, then let's move down to quarterly financials, which we have none. Accounts payable, we have none. And page 42, please, where we have correspondence and information at this time. Who would like to put a motion on the floor for that? Councillor Overwater.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that the correspondence and information report ending October 11, 2016 be received for information.
Yes, and does council have any questions to any of these correspondence? Councillor Overwater.
Thank you, Worship. This is probably to CAO McGuinness, I would think, regarding the Canadian Pacific, the Security Emergency Response Training Center, CERTA. It states in here, Canadian Pacific will fund the tuition and travel costs for interested firefighters. Has this been passed on to our fire chief, and will we be sending anybody for this, or do we need to send anybody?
It will be passed on to our fire chief. He is on holidays, I believe, until the 17th, so. Go ahead, Scott.
If I could make a comment through the chair. This training has actually been bought right to Olds. CP Rail has actually bought some of their cars here and actually did an all-day training session here right on site. So we've been, had several opportunities with CP Rail, definitely with them to come and do talks and actually provide on-site trainings.
Okay. Any other further information? Seeing none then, we have a motion from Councillor Overwater on the floor. Those in favor? That is carried. And we will, perhaps we will adjourn, the media can ask questions, and then if all council would please stay to give their little 1-minute interview with Dean, that would be awesome. Motion to adjourn? Councillor Harper, those in favor? That's carried, thank you.
Olds Community TV, your go-to channel for news and information in Olds, Alberta.